Hello, my name is Professor John Benjamin, and this is Adobe Premiere Pro. This is the third video in a series where we're introducing you to the basics of how to do video editing. So since this is the third video, we've already gone over assembly, bringing footage in, and then making a sequence. And so today we're going to look at the tools. All right, so here we are where we left off last time. And the first tool that we've already taken a look at is the selection tool. And like going over it again, you can click on your clips, and then you can trim your clips and move them around. You can move them up and down into the different tracks. And so that's your most important tool. The next tool I just want to point out is the select forward and backwards tool. This isn't that important right now, but what happens is you can see if I click on it, it selects everything all the way forward from this clip on. Or if I click on the back track, this clip and everything forward. What's going to happen is this is going to be really important as your movie gets anything longer than, let's say, a minute. It's going to be harder to manipulate certain parts of your sequence as things get more complicated. Now, of course, the simplest way to do this when you only have a few is to just have your selection tool. You can click on one, or you can click and drag and lasso two. That's just another little tip there. All right, so now let's move down to, we're going to skip this tool for now. We're going to go right to the razor tool. So the razor tool is a really excellent tool. It's basically, it refers to how traditional filmmaking was done, where they literally would cut film with a razor on a table. And so that's why we have a little razor there. And so basically anywhere you want to clip your footage, you just put your CTI where you want it clipped, and then you can come down with your razor tool and it'll snap to where your current time indicator is. So I just click right there, and you can see now I have sliced those two clips. So I can do a couple of things. I can just delete this clip by selecting it, and then I can select the negative space there and just delete, and then this clip will move in. I can also right click in here and hit ripple delete. Now, if I wanted to clip multiple tracks at the same time, let's say, for instance, let's say this track was above this track, like so, and you can see whatever is above the track below it, that's what you'll see, that's what will play. But let's say I wanted to slice these two together right at this point. I could go to my razor tool and hold the shift key down and click, and now notice that everything, and it would, even if we had audio, it would clip the audio. Everything's been segmented. So now let's say I just want to delete that bit, and then I've got that right there. I'm probably going to just move that track down. And so that's our razor tool. That's probably your most handy or go-to tool after your selection tool. All right, so now let's go ahead and move up to the ripple edit tool. So this is pretty fantastic. So what it does is it just takes the way that the extra steps to, let's say if I wanted to move these two clips apart, and then I wanted to fill that in, and then I wanted to get rid of this space here in between. There's a lot of steps there. The ripple edit tool, I can just go ahead and make this clip smaller, and then it doesn't affect the clips before or after. It just sort of moves everything into place, saves you an extra step. And I can do the same thing over here, and the whole thing gets shorter, or I can make the whole thing a little longer, and then this clip didn't get altered. So that's a pretty excellent tool. So I really recommend moving away from the razor tool, saving yourself some time, going right to the ripple edit tool. Beneath that, we have the rolling edit tool. And this does a similar helpful bit. So if I have that, I can make the clip before longer and the clip after shorter, or vice versa, the clip before a little shorter and that one longer. And so I'm moving the distance and duration between these two clips. All my other clips are left alone. So that's a pretty excellent little tool. And you can see that up in the program monitor, it's telling me where in those two clips so I can compare them to. So that's pretty fantastic. So the next one, if we click and hold, we'll go down to the rate stretch tool. So this is a favorite tool for slow motion and speeding things up. So let's say, for instance, let's play this clip of the trees. If I just hit play right now, this is the pace. It's a pretty slow pace. So let's say I wanted to speed that up. First thing I would do probably is make the clip a little bit longer, like so, because now when I use the rate stretch tool and I make it shorter, I'm going to need more footage. And now, if I play that through, you can see it goes a lot faster. So essentially that's what you're doing. If you're shrinking the footage, you're speeding it up, but you have less footage. And then I can make it go really slow. So I can drag it way out, and then I can clip it again. And then let's play that sequence through. It's going very, very slow. Now, one thing to keep in mind, if you're going to do slow motion tracks like this, you typically want to think about it ahead of time and maybe shoot that scene at 60 frames per second rather than 30. So you've got more frames and it's going to be a little bit smoother when you slow it down. So that's the rate stretch tool. So that's a pretty fantastic tool as well. All right, then I'm just going to show you one more tool here today that's pretty helpful, but it's a little advanced, I realize. But here we have the slip tool. So the slip tool is pretty amazing. So now what's going to happen is I can manipulate this clip left or right within where I've trimmed it without hurting the footage before and after. So let's give it a little look. If I click on it here, you can see what I'm doing is I'm taking, I'll show you an image of me here. Let's say you have the footage right here, and this is where you've clipped it. There's more footage after and before. And with the slip tool, I can take the clip and move it to the left or right within these two trim points. So that way, maybe I want to move to the beginning of a clip, like here, but I don't want to change the clips on forward and backwards. So I'm just going to go ahead and slide this clip all the way to the beginning. And you can see my little triangle showed up there because now I'm at the beginning of the clip. And I can also slip right to the end. Now that clip I'm at the end of that clip. So it's a way of being able to slide between where you've trimmed it without hurting the footage before and after. So that's a pretty excellent tool. And then the last tool here is just the slide tool. It does something quite similar. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to just go ahead and slide this clip between the clip ahead of it and behind it. So that's really excellent because, again, I'm not going to mess with a lot of the other footage. I'm just tinkering between the position of this clip between the clip before and the clip after. So those are some pretty excellent tools. All right, well, thanks for joining. Then in the next episode, we'll talk about adding some effects.